This is 𝗧𝗵𝗆 in Chicago, and you are watching my channel, Knowledge for Quality of Life. Friends, I apologize for not doing the vlog last week. I was out of town on vacation with my wife, and I'll try to do it today and another vlog to make it up. As we've been talking over the last few weeks since I introduced the list of various tests which I do periodically in a given calendar year during my physical, I thought that I'm going to include one vlog on very important, extremely important topic, which is our thyroid gland. So basically, it's one of the major player of our endocrine system. And before I go in details, I would like all of you who watch my videos and who sometimes give me the comments. I would like each and every individual to participate in this community of learners so that we can have a two-way dialogue. I try to give my answers or comments, responses to the questions which folks ask, but let's make it more interactive so that I know what you guys are looking from consumers' perspective, because I'm speaking completely from consumers' perspective, and whatever I'm talking here, I'm sharing my understanding and knowledge over the years which I have acquired. By no means I'm trying to prescribe anyone or give my recommendation. But whatever I'm looking at it, or I've been looking at it through the lens of a consumer, and I'm a very educated and driven consumer as far as my being is concerned. So I'm looking from that perspective. So if you have any questions, comments, please include in the vlog comment section, and I'll try to include all the comments. And if there's a need, I may do a special vlog addressing those comments. And because that's how we can make more interactive and learning experience, because this is all about learning, nothing else. Increasing our knowledge base. And that was the impetus for me to start this channel. There was no other reason to start this channel. That's why I kept my handle name as Knowledge for Quality of Life. In short, Knowledge for QOL. Now, let's get back to today's topic, is thyroid. Thyroid is like a butterfly type of gland which we have in our throat, and it is one of the major player of our endocrine system. Sometimes we call it as a thermostat of our system as well. We have all HVAC in our houses. During the winter we have heat. During the summer seasons we run our ACs, and we control through a digitized thermostat or manual thermostat those knobs, and we adjust the temperature accordingly depending on the season we are in. So basically, this gland, the thyroid gland is considered as a thermostat of our body, because it can throw many functions within the body, and needs to be monitored on a periodic basis, on a yearly basis. So before I go into the detail, let me share my screen with you. And I could have made a presentation out of it, but I thought that I give you a glimpse of how to do things digitally. So I'm gonna walk you through that what is thyroid stimulating hormone, and so that when you go to a doctor, the whole purpose is when you go to a doctor, you do your due diligence, you do your homework, so you can create a dialogue between yourself and the doctor. You don't want to go blank to your doctor so that he or she can write anything on your slate. And so that the more you are informed, the more you are educated, the more you have knowledge based, you can have that dialogue a two-way, and you can take the interest. And that's how the responses are going to be from your doctor. So this is all about this channel, because I want to equip you with basic understanding. We are not trying to be be your own doctor by any means. No, this is not the objective, because when I go and see my physician, I'm very well equipped that we can create a dialogue between within ourselves. So let me type here TSH, T3, and T4. Let's see what Google gives me. So Google gave me AI overview, and this is, in the olden days, when I was going to the reference library, when internet was not there, I was spending, a given weekend, like Saturday, 3-4 hours in the reference section and reading stuff, scientific stuff, based on what my needs were, sometimes financial stuff, sometimes, education stuff. Whatever phases of life I have gone through, and I would read it. But as the internet came along, things got much easier. My tendency of going to the libraries dwindled, and now in those days when we have dial-up ISPs, internet service providers, the connections were bad. Now we moved to broadband and DSL and fiber, and now we are talking about, I have now internet 5G wireless. So, speed is not an issue anymore. So I rely on quite a bit on reading on, references on AI and, and Google. And AI is not by any means a replacement of a human. At least as far as I am concerned. It gives you a very shortcut, because before I used to go to various places. Now what AI does for me, that it gives me entire references and consolidates everything here, if you see on the side. And you can see very authentic resources like Cleveland Clinic, Mayo Clinic, John Hopkins. These are the very well-known institutes. We can rely the information on. So if you look at here, TSH, it gives you a range that, what a normal range should be. But experts say that, if you go up to 2.5, it's considered normal. So normal range is like 0.8 to close to 4.5 or 5, depending on the lab which you are working with. And 2.5 up to 2.5 is considered generally is an optimal range, because as we age, our TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone, tends to creep up. And once it goes closer to the upper bound range, you are moving slowly towards hypothyroidism, means underactive thyroid. If you go below 0.8, sometimes you go towards hyperthyroidism, and that's called overactive thyroid. So if you look at here, and then you have T3, that's also a main hormone, and T4. T4 is normally converted to T3, and they are a part and parcel of complete thyroid panel when you do the complete thyroid panel test. So if you look at the symptoms, which an underactive hypothyroidism means if you're creeping towards the higher range of the upper bound, then you can have one can have a hypothyroidism case, and one would say that the thyroid is underactive. And the issues, these are some of the issues, because thyroid is directly and indirectly connected with many glands, many functions in the human body. It affects heart, it affects many things. So some of the things here is given that symptoms of underactive thyroid, which is hypothyroidism, is bradycardia. Bradycardia is a very slow pace heartbeat. and opposite is tachycardia, which is very fast heartbeat. So if somebody is getting TSH value closer to the upper bound, then their heartbeat could go pretty low, in the low range. A normal human being should be between 60 and 100, but it can go off either way depending on how the thyroid status is. Then cold intolerance. Sometimes, particularly in female, the hot flashes. Cold intolerance, constipation, fatigue, weight gain. Weight gain is another sign of that thyroid is not working properly. Memory issues, brain fog, dry skin. And if you look at the overactive thyroid, which is hyperthyroidism, means somebody falls below the lower bound. Weight loss, heat intolerance again, diarrhea, fine tremor, muscle weakness, sensitivity to heat, fast heartbeat, which is the opposite of bradycardia, which we call normally a tachycardia as well, and nervousness. So basically, if you look at these symptoms, and based on this thing, one knows that how important it is to monitor. Remember that let me stop share here. Remember that nature has provided each and every organ in our body as a gift. Okay, what are we trying to achieve here? What are we trying to do here? What am I trying to do on a periodic basis, on an annual basis, to make sure that each and every functions of the glands or organs are working properly, so that we are aging gracefully, and that's the whole idea, what we are trying to achieve here. So that was my main reason to share this vlog on that. Once a year at least you should monitor, because if somebody's thyroid is out of the whack, either way, in lower bound, closer to the lower bound or upper bound, it can have multiple issues in the body. And I would say that when you talk to the doctor, if your thyroid is out of the normal range, range means, if it's 2.5 and above TSH, make sure that, it's not moving or creeping towards the hypocase. Otherwise, you can have an issue. And on the other round, on the other hand, that you can, say the true same thing with the lower bound, because you don't want to be going below 0.8 as well. But experts normally have consensus that, the TSH should be up to 2.5. It shouldn't be more than 2.5 and above. In my wife's case, at one point it was getting close to 4.34, which is pretty close, creeping to the higher range. And her doctor was saying that that's still within the normal range, but she was feeling the initial symptoms of hot flashes, and that's the initial phase of hypothyroidism. Sometimes they call it subclinical hypothyroidism. Means it's not full blown yet, but you are inching towards that. So I incorporated this Brazilian nut. So now let me share my experience with this. So normally if somebody goes towards hypothyroidism, then doctor treats you with Synthroid, levothyroxine. That's a tablet, and that Synthroid tablet does the functioning of the thyroid, because it controls, it manages with this medication. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be taking it, but what I'm saying that my main objective in my life was that go with the nature first. So my concept was that what are the things which we can do in our food, which I've been sharing with you over the time, that what are the main critical ingredients which are very critical for synthesizing the thyroid in a way that nature has designed us. And two things came to me is through the literature, that iodine and selenium. These are the minerals, trace minerals, which we need in our food. And if we can have that, then probably synthesizing of the thyroid is going to be doing it properly. And we all use salt in our food. Okay. But sometimes, these salt, and particularly I'm living in Chicagoland area. So, we are in the Midwest and we are living in a goiter belt. Goiter belt means, our soil is very much depleted in iodine. And I think according to the stats, expert says that 97, 98% of the people are iodine deficient. And iodine is very, very critical. People think that it's only needed for our thyroid, but it's much more than that. Each and every organ, each and every gland in our body requires iodine. So we've been using this salt. By no means I'm advertising this or marketing this. 𝗀 is the brand which I found, iodized sea salt, here in Whole Foods. And it has about quarter teaspoon, has about 70 microgram of iodine. And this is evaporated seawater, and it was added iodine as a added ingredient. So this is iodized sea salt. Now, people say that sometimes I have read the literature, and I've heard people saying Himalayan salt, pink salt, is good. Of course, pink salt is great, but unfortunately, it doesn't have that much iodine in it. It has a trace mineral, very trace amount, but it has 82 plus nutrients other than iodine, which is great, but it doesn't provide you enough iodine which our body requires. The range of iodine is sometimes, which different labs report differently, but range is like 51 to 109 or something. And I was deficient. I was using this thing, in our food with decent amount. And I was almost at the border, like 50, 1 point or 2 points below the normal. Then I started including this atomic iodine. So this is nascent iodine, and it's a liquid drop. And I started using 1 drop, because it says here standard dose is 3, but always remember that when you do something, start small and see how your body performs or reacts. And I use just 1 drop in distilled water. You have to take distilled water because you don't want to impede any reaction of this atomic iodine. This is a liquid. It has a dropper, and I just use 1 drop in a quarter cup of water, and I was doing it. And then I tested my iodine level. It budged very tiny. It didn't give me that kind of a boost. My wife was okay. But remember that every time I've been saying that we all are different. 2 persons are not identical. That's how the nature has designed us. So I added 1 more drop. So I was doing 2 drops in quarter cup, and then it budged a little bit up. And then finally I started using 3 drops, which was given here as a dosage. 3 drops has about 1,950 micrograms. Okay. Microgram is very tiny amount, but this iodine is required in trace amount. You don't need to take too much. Otherwise, it could be detrimental to our health. So I've been using this 3 drop, and that puts me to iodine, my blood level at 78, which I'm very happy with. So iodine and selenium, these are the two main mineral is required for synthesizing our thyroid hormone. So this is a Brazilian nut. Now, this Brazilian nut, you don't have to go more than 1 to 2 nuts a day. That's it. 1 medium-sized Brazilian nut has about 90 to 95 microgram of selenium. And the range is, upper range is 330 micrograms, 330 nanograms per deciliter, if I recall correct. But that's the upper limit. So I take 2 nuts a day. That puts me to 300 level. just at optimum. And I'm doing perfect. But by just adding one nut to my wife diet in mixed nuts, which we eat, her 4.5, it was creeping towards 4.5 TSH, it came below 2.5 by just adding one nut a day. So this is that powerful. Now, you don't want to take more than 1 to 2 nuts a day, because otherwise too much selenium is toxic. Okay. And for males, prostate gland, selenium is also good, because selenium is very crucial trace mineral in multiple things to synthesize in our body. So this is very important. I just wanted to share these things with you guys, that keep your iodine and selenium intact, and keep watching your thyroid stimulating hormone along with your T3 and T4. If sometimes, if things are not in your favor in the normal range, make sure that you visit a specialist who is endocrinologist, who are specialized in endocrine system. Endocrine system is a composed mixture of many glands in our body, along with various organs like hypothalamus, thyroid, pancreas, ovaries, testes, variety of complex items which controls our all complete endocrine system. So you need to see that person, that doctor who is specialized in this system, before you do anything. With that, I will say goodbye to you, and hopefully I'll present something different in the next vlog. But make sure that this TSH is your annual checkup marker list when you do your blood work, because sometimes doctors don't include TSH, because if remember that if I say that this is a thermostat of our body, if your thermostat is not functioning properly, your heating and cooling is not going to work properly in your house, same as this system. So your hormones should function the way nature has designed it, to make it sure that everything is functioning in a right orderly manner. Hopefully see you next time.